Welcome to Reddit Echoes, where stories that sound fictional come from the people who actually lived them. In today's video, I'm bringing you 5 unbelievable stories. Tales where love becomes a tool for control and choices force you to ask, am I really loving the right person? If it were me, could I forgive them? You'll meet a woman forced by her boyfriend to choose between her family and his feng shui boundaries. A guy who got a message from his ex asking if he'd be the spiritual father of her baby with another man. And twists that will make you say, there's no way this is real. But trust me, they told their own stories. And if you've spent any time on Reddit, you know one thing's always true. Reality is always stranger than fiction. Story 1. I warned the gas line was faulty. The boss ignored me, and then it exploded. I'm not the kind of person who loves saying I told you so. But in this case, I told you so. And that goddamn pipe blew up like a scene from a Michael Bay movie. I'm a mechanical engineer, still pretty green at the time. Just a few years into the job, working as a technical assistant on a high-pressure gas plant project racing toward completion. Deadlines were breathing down our necks. Everyone was tense. So tense it felt like even your breathing had a KPI. My role was fairly simple. In theory, inspect materials before installation. Make sure everything going into the system met safety standards, especially the high-pressure gas pipelines. One small mistake, and the entire site could go up in flames. The first red flag. One day, a huge shipment of steel pipes arrived, and even from a distance, something looked off. I walked closer and started inspecting. The manufacturer's stamp didn't match the certification paperwork. Some of the welds looked like they were held together with hope and a prayer. There were visible surface cracks, bulges, and warped edges. If you work in engineering, you know that's classic evidence of cheap steel. The kind of steel that goes hands-on with human lives. I reported it immediately to our lead engineer, a seasoned guy, tough, no-nonsense, allergic to half-assed work. He took one look for 30 seconds and said, reject it. Send it back. Request a certified batch. We filed a detailed report to the project manager. And this is where the nightmare began. The boss wasn't an engineer, and he wouldn't listen. This project manager had no technical background. He graduated in business administration, got into the company thanks to his uncle, a senior exec. To him, a steel pipe was just a number in an Excel sheet, and a weld was a visual detail. If it looks okay, it is okay. We thought he'd read the report and do the obvious, reject the batch request, a certified replacement. Instead, he looked me straight in the eye and said, the supplier says it's fine, just install it. If we miss inspection day, my bonus is on the line. I nearly choked. Trying to stay calm, I explained, you don't understand. If this pipe bursts under pressure, it won't just leak. It could explode. This is compressed gas. It's basically a bomb. He waved his hand, sighed like I was interrupting his coffee break. If there's a problem, it'll show up during pressure testing. Just install it. Don't overthink. I turned to the lead engineer. He shrugged and said, document everything. Email. Archive. Let's see who gets blown up after. And then, boom, the pipes got installed. And even though I felt like I was sitting on a ticking time bomb, I had no authority to stop it. Pressure test day arrived. I stood more than 10 meters away per safety protocol, but still felt a chill run down my spine. Pressure increased. My heartbeat matched it. Then crack. A sound like the air ripping in half. Then a blast like a gunshot. The main weld blew apart, the pipe split open, and compressed gas shot out like a dragon's roar. One support frame bent. Workers panicked and scattered. Miraculously, no one was hurt. But the whole site shut down instantly. The fallout was bigger than any bonus. The entire pipeline had to be removed, reinstalled, retested, recertified. The project was delayed 3 weeks, losses in the hundreds of thousands. The supplier was permanently blacklisted. The client's inspection team stormed in and demanded a full internal investigation. My lead engineer, he opened the email chain and forwarded the entire warning report to upper management. No further explanation needed. And the ending karma right on deadline. The project manager was summoned, immediately suspended. A month later, officially fired. Even with an uncle in upper management, no one could save him. Last I heard, he'd changed industries and no longer touches anything even remotely technical. What did I learn? You might think I was smug. And yeah, I was. I got steamrolled by a clueless boss who nearly got someone killed over his damn bonus. But more importantly, I learned this document. Everything. Because if you do the right thing and don't have proof, you'll still be the one they blame when it all goes to hell. Story 2. My boss hated me because I'm a man. So I locked the entire POS system and walked out. Some people were born just to make others miserable. My boss, or as I called her in my head, the final boss of bitterness, was exactly that kind of person. I used to work at a gas station that was part of a small chain of 3 stores. I started out as a morning shift worker, the opener who came in at 5 a.m., cleaned the counter, turned on the systems, and did inventory checks. Traditionally, this job had always been done by women, a tradition the owner had made very clear. But one day, her husband, the actual operator of the business, found out the previous opener was stealing money. So I got promoted to opener. And that's when I became her #1 target. It all started with my gender. I'll never forget her first visit during one of my morning shifts. She walked in arms crossed, scanned the counter like Sherlock Holmes, but with a face that screamed, "Did you just pee in my coffee? Why are you using a wet cloth to wipe the beverage station? Because we ran out of dry wipes and the spray bottle smells like hospital disinfectant," I replied. She looked at me like I had insulted her ancestors. "I want dry paper. And the spray. No matter how it smells. That's protocol." From that day on, she started calling or showing up daily to nitpick every microscopic thing, too many Snapple apples on display. Muffins need to be rotated 30 degrees for better visibility. You're standing 2 centimeters off center when greeting customers. I wish I were joking. Worse, I was the person who had set up the entire POS system for all 3 stores. I was the highest level admin for the point-of-sale software and inventory tracking system. And since she was completely tech illiterate, I became the only one who knew how to operate, update prices, and maintain the records. This drove her insane because she couldn't train or control me the way she did with her all-female staff. I planned my exit. After 2 years of enduring this, I landed a new job, a contract IT position with real potential. I accepted the offer, and being a professional, I submitted my 2-week notice to her husband. Why not tell her? Because I'd seen how she handled things emotionally, irrationally, and I didn't want any drama during handover. So I quietly continued working hard until my final Friday shift at the station. That's when she walked in, beaming the kind of beaming you do before wringing a chicken's neck. She brought a junior office employee with her and stood right next to me. "Delete your admin account from the system. Right. Now." I looked at her, smiled, and I did exactly what she said. What she forgot. When I deleted my account, the system didn't prompt me to transfer admin rights. I was the only user with full access. And once I was gone, no one had permissions to make updates or manage anything. I visited the other 2 stores, deleted my access there too. She followed me, still smiling, not realizing she'd just chopped off her own legs. 3 weeks later, I was settling into my new job when my phone exploded. 20 missed calls, 10 texts, voicemails with frantic screaming from her. I didn't answer. Instead, I called the junior office employee who was there when I deleted the account. She told me everything: they couldn't update product prices, couldn't add new inventory. The POS admin panel was locked. The new opener had no clue, so he just ignored it. The result: for 2 full weeks, items were being sold underpriced. Beer, soda, cigarettes, all bleeding 5–10% losses per item. Profit margins, gone. And when the boss finally messaged me, I sent back one sentence. You told me to delete it. There's camera footage, 3 witnesses. Goodbye. The aftermath. They had to call in the software company's tech team to restore admin access. Cost over $6,000 in service fees. All of it. Because one woman couldn't stand that her opener was male. The epilogue, I later heard she started a personal Facebook page. Every post is bursting with boss bitch energy, TM. But there's also a private group called Poop on Her Grave with hundreds of former employees, each one with their own horror story. I wasn't the only one she tormented, but I'm the only one who locked the entire system before walking out. And no, I don't regret it for a second. Story 3. My roommate called me selfish for not sharing the last slice of pizza. I never thought a slice of pizza could destroy a friendship, but then I met Zach. Zach, the guy who eats pizza with unwashed hands, sleeps 12 hours a day but constantly claims he's burned out, and once called me a freak for using lemon-scented dish soap. From the very first week of living together, I knew he was going to be a walking disaster. What I didn't know was that he'd trigger Cold War-level conflict over a single leftover slice of pepperoni pizza. The friendship that went too far and moved in. I met Zach back in college. We worked on a group project together and I thought he was chill. Funny even. Thought being the key word. Because once we moved in together, I realized I only liked Zach in small doses, like once-a-week group project doses. Zach, on the other hand, decided I was his soulmate. He kept suggesting we should get a place together, save money, make life easier. I trusted him. Mistake number 1. By the end of month 1, I had discovered that Zach had 3 supernatural abilities. Never buys toilet paper but always uses the last roll. Never does dishes but always complains about dirty ones. Never buys groceries but always accidentally eats yours. The war began with a pizza box. That week I'd just gotten paid. I was riding high after a brutal work deadline and decided to treat myself with a giant pepperoni pizza from the best spot in town, the kind Zach would never spend money on. I ate 5 slices. Too full to finish, I stuck the rest in the fridge with a very clear sticky note. Mine. Still eating. Not for sharing. I worked the night shift. Came home the next morning, opened the fridge. The pizza box was empty. And in its place, a new sticky note. Thought you weren't gonna eat it, didn't want it to go to waste. Zach. I exhaled slowly like the lead character in an action movie about to lose his damn mind. Even worms fight back, I didn't scream. I didn't flip tables. I just ordered another pizza the next day. This time I hid it in the veggie drawer, wrapped it in foil, and labeled it like a nuclear hazard. Do not open unless your name is my name, radioactive content. Zach still found it, and ate the last slice. Again. I confronted him. Do you seriously not understand the concept of personal boundaries? Zach stared at me like I'd just asked if oxygen exists. You live with someone and expect to have your own food. That's selfish, man. Why even have roommates? Ah, yes, I, the guy who works 40 hours a week, buys my own food, cleans the place. I'm selfish. Meanwhile, this freeloading leech is apparently the saint of sharing. So I planned a culinary trap. I'm not one to hold a grudge, but I do have a long memory and access to online ordering, so I got another pizza. But this time, I ordered the spiciest pizza known to mankind. Extra jalapenos, extra habanero sauce, chili flakes, and a few drops of Da Bomb hot sauce, the one from YouTube that makes grown men weep. I ate 2 slices, sweating bullets but smiling as I stashed the rest back in the fridge, my little mouse trap. Zach took the bait and nearly called 911. I came home from work to find Zach sprawled on the sofa, wheezing like a dying goldfish. Eyes red, nose running, chugging milk like it was holy water. What the hell was in that pizza? I think I'm dying. I shrugged. Huh. Thought you didn't eat other people's food. It's just spicy, not toxic. If it gets worse, maybe call a doctor. He looked at me like I'd betrayed humanity. The friendship ends with a utility bill. After that day, Zach never touched my food again. Instead, he started whining on Facebook, living with a psycho who puts poison in the fridge. I didn't care. I just sent him the split bills 70-30 since Zach used most of the electricity at night, and I had data from the smart meter to prove it. A month later, I moved out. Left the room spotless with a note, "Room is clean, bills are paid." As for the roommate, he's your problem now. The lesson. You can forgive a lazy roommate. You can forgive a noisy one. But a roommate who doesn't respect food boundaries, never, ever forgive that. Story 4. My boyfriend told me. My cousin couldn't stay with us and made me choose between family and love. You ever love someone and think, yeah, this is it. He's stable, responsible, someone I can build a future with. I thought that too. Right up until the day my boyfriend said my cousin couldn't stay with us because she messed with the energy flow. No, I'm not joking. This story made me reevaluate not just our relationship, but what being a mature adult actually means. Turns out it's not someone with a full-time job and a DoorDash account. My cousin A, victim of circumstance. My cousin, let's call her Mina, was in her final year of college about 2 hours from the city I live in. One day she called me, voice shaking. My dorm's being shut down. The new landlord wants to take the place back earlier than the lease says. Can I stay with you for a few weeks? Just until I find a new place, I didn't think twice. I lived with my boyfriend Eric in a 2-bedroom apartment. I paid 70% of the rent because I earned more and Eric had just switched jobs. So I said, of course, come over. Everything seemed settled. Until I told Eric. Mature adult, mode activated. I had barely opened my mouth. Hey, my cousin's gonna crash with us for a bit. And Eric froze mid-bite. He looked at me like I'd just suggested adopting a pack of stray dogs. Wait, you mean a stranger living in our home? She's my cousin. She's been here dozens of times. She's clean quiet. I don't like people invading our space, especially if they're not paying rent but using our kitchen, our bathroom, our electricity. Oh. Suddenly he's an accountant. Choose me or her, yes. That exact sentence was actually said. No metaphors, no nuance. If you bring a stranger to live here, maybe we need to reconsider this arrangement. I need boundaries. I was speechless. Eric, the same guy who once crashed on a friend's couch for 2 months after college, was calling my cousin a stranger and accusing me of having no boundaries. For wanting to help family, I asked him if I lost my home and had nowhere to go. Would you let me stay with you? Eric smirked. If you were my girlfriend, yes. But Mina, she's not my responsibility. I chose. And it wasn't him. That night, I didn't argue. I just scheduled a cleaning. Next morning, I messaged Mina. Come over. The room's ready. Clean sheets, warm blanket, and food in the fridge. Then I texted Eric, hey. I think you're right. We need clear boundaries. I've paid rent through the end of the month. After that, you should find a new place. No screaming, no name calling. Just made space for someone who actually needed it. Eric didn't respond right away. But that evening, he came home, face like a block of ice. You're seriously dumping me over some broke student? I smiled. No, I'm just not living with someone who sets the rules and forgets who bought the game board. What came next was sweet, sweet karma. Mina stayed with me for 6 weeks. And during that time, the apartment was cleaner than it had ever been. Mina, it turned out, was a fantastic cook. I had no idea broke college kids could make lasagna. She even helped me polish my work presentation slides. She was majoring in communications. We laughed, shared stories, and honestly, I felt lighter. And Eric. After moving out, I heard he ended up crashing with a friend, the same one who had once stayed at our place. That friend later told me he's been whining non-stop. Says it's hard to share space but can't afford his own place. keeps saying he was betrayed because his girlfriend picked someone else over him. The lesson: loving someone doesn't mean you have to choose them over your family. The right person won't force you to make that choice. They'll expand your heart, not shrink it down to just them. And people who freak out over someone else using their kitchen can go cook alone in their own kitchen, paid for with their own money. Story 5. My ex texted me after 7 years, asking if I'd help raise her baby with her new boyfriend. I thought I'd heard it all. Until I got a message from Lana, my ex from 7 years ago, who had blocked me on every platform, just to ask, "Do you think you're ready to be a godfather? I mean, co-parenting this child with me and my boyfriend?" I read it once, twice, triple-checked that I wasn't hallucinating from sleep deprivation. Nope. This wasn't a prank. It was a proposal for a contract I was never going to sign. Flashback to 7 years ago, when I dated a spiritual guru. Lana and I met in college. I was a computer science student, logical grounded. She was intuitive, loved meditation, brewed tea from dried flowers, and believed the moon affected human emotions. At first I thought it was quirky, cute even. Later I realized I was living with a breathing, humming pseudoscience podcast. Lana believed everyone had a spiritual mission in life. I thought it was just her personal philosophy, until she told me to quit my job because the office's energy field makes me tired. Spoiler: I didn't quit. The breakup. Lana style. We broke up after 2 years. Lana told me I was no longer aligned with her soul journey. Translation: I refused to leave my stable, well-paying job to sell handmade chakra stones with her. She blocked me on everything. I moved on, met someone new, lived a peaceful life without amethyst crystals under my pillow. The message that shook me. Last week, I was at the grocery store when I got a Facebook message from Lana. Her profile was still classic. Lana, a glowing beam of light, as her avatar bamboo forest cover photo, and a bio that read, healer, crystal worker, empath. I opened the message. She said she was engaged, expecting a child, but her fiancé doesn't believe in traditional gender roles and wants to share fatherhood duties with someone who once had a soul connection with her. So I, a man she once blocked for not believing in energy water, was now being invited to co-parent spiritually, emotionally, and financially with her and her fiancé. I replied, "Are you serious?" She sent back a 2-minute voice message. Highlights included Ethan, her fiancé, and I believe this child has a unique soul. That soul first entered the universe during our past relationship. So you carry karmic responsibility. Ethan isn't jealous. He's very enlightened. I answered the only way I knew how: I'm only responsible for my own water and electric bills. But she wasn't done. Lana followed up with, "You're missing an opportunity to make things right. Do you know why we didn't work out? Because you refused to surrender to the universe. This is your chance to correct that." Correct what exactly? Not going halfsies on a solar-powered energy pyramid. She even sent a draft agreement, a spiritual responsibility sharing pact, and told me I didn't have to sign it legally. All it requires is trust. I rejected her as efficiently as possible. I replied, "I wish you, Ethan, the baby, and your cosmic vortex nothing but happiness. But I won't help raise your child. I won't send money. I won't join any energy Zoom calls." Then I blocked her. This time the other way around. And then it got weirder. A week later, I got tagged in a spiritual community Facebook post. Lana had written, "Some souls reject responsibility because they're trapped by material fears. But I forgive, because karma will do its work." Below were dozens of comments calling me a spiritual traitor, a low-vibration soul, someone who hasn't awakened yet. But one comment really made my day. Wait, how many spiritual dads does this baby have? Lesson learned. Not every ex comes back to apologize. Sometimes they come back to ask if you'll help raise their baby with their new boyfriend. Dating someone who believes in crystals isn't a crime. But when they ask you to fund someone else's destiny, run. Block them. And this time, do it first. Thanks for sticking around until the end of the video. If today's stories made you angry, shocked, or just feel like blocking someone immediately, then congratulations, you've found your people. This isn't just Reddit drama. This is the unfiltered version of real life where being good doesn't always win, but self-awareness is the sharpest weapon you've got. Drop a comment below. Which story left you speechless? And if you've ever been the main character in a similar kind of drama, tell us. We're here to hear every word. Don't forget. Like if something hit a little too close to home. Subscribe if you want more plot twists that'll keep you up at night, and share this video if you've ever dated someone who kept healing crystals under their pillow.